Hello, everybody. Today we're going to talk about bankable trends. We are able to call our program rather boldly Bankable Trends because after 38 years in the business, living a natural and organic lifestyle, all the products I use internally, externally, raising family, all natural, you put a different kind of lens on the business. When I go to Whole Foods, my family doesn't let me go that often because it's like a field trip. I'm going like 4.5 hours. So we mine all kinds of tidbits of information and data. When we're out at cocktail bars, when we're out in retail environment, we spend over $1 million with spins. So we have access to every category. Natural products in natural food store environment, natural products in conventional grocery stores. So we're looking at velocities, we're looking at size of categories, very valuable. The other aspect is the kind of Malcolm Gladwell-esque. You know, they say you put 10,000 hours into a craft or a sport to become great at it, to which I often say, gee, I must have played 10,000 hours of ping pong, but actually I have 30,000 hours in product, not just work experience, but attunement to natural, health-related food and beverage products. So 3 years ago, I discovered bone broth. When I saw what the nutritional proposition was with bone broth, pegged it as the next big thing, put numbers to it, said it would be a $600 million category by 2020, and we got busy with some brands, and let's take a look at what we've got. So we auditioned about 4 brands, and we found this great company in Carlsbad, California called Real Bone Broth. We invested in them, we rebranded, and we launched as Bonafide Restorative Bone Broth. It's been an epic home run. Speaking of epic, we have a great offering there too. Refrigerated bone broth, 3 varieties. We're working on some innovation for different format delivery. And getting back to Bonafide, we pivoted. We thought, we want a cold product that you can grab and consume on the go. People want to eat more vegetables. They want the benefits of bone broth. Some people just aren't going to buy a frozen bag and go home and heat it up and drink 12 to 24 ounces. So we came up with drinkable veggies, national launch Whole Foods. We've got 6 ounces of crushed vegetables and 6 ounces of bone broth in that product. Jordan Rubin, good friend of ours, founder of Garden of Life, heard our take on bone broth and he got busy. I swear it was 30 days after I had him over to the house, he created Ancient Nutrition Bone Broth Protein Powder. We invested with him. This product's incredible. It's like you would use a plant-based protein or whey protein, and 1 scoop is equivalent to 2.5 cups of bone broth. Why we get so excited about bone broth and why we have such confidence in the bone broth movement, there's a nutritional proposition that is not mimicked in the vegetable or animal food kingdoms. So you have copious amounts of hard-to-get amino acids like proline and glycine. This product speaks to more tribes than any single product I've ever seen in my entire life. The youth seeker is all over it because those amino acids and gelatinous compounds will build elasticity in your skin, help collagen stay supple and firm. Athletes or anybody interested in flexibility, while chicken breast and muscle meat will rebuild, has an amino acid profile where it will rebuild muscle from weightlifting, the amino acid profile in bone broth nourishes ligaments, tendons, joints, synovial fluid. So those same gelatinous cofactors are very healing to the gut. So anybody with food allergies, you've got some fissures in your gut, and you've got food particulate entering your bloodstream, being attacked like a foreign invader. You commit to bone broth, you can heal your whole upper GI so that probiotics work better, bitters influence your digestion better, and your overall health improves. So it was game, set, match, and I can tell you guys this, just the brands that we're representing at year's end will be at a $100 million run rate. Bone broth bars opening all over. So instead of just walking in and slugging a big glass of juice, the juice categories evolved. People aren't drinking as much of the 40, 60, 80 gram sugar hit, fruit juice based, but they are in fact consuming more green juices, more low sugar varieties. Bone broth plays right into that trend. You're going out, you want something satisfying. I've been to Brodo. Every time I come to town, I'm going to go check out this Springbone Kitchen. I think I'll head over there this afternoon or tomorrow. But think about this, guys, a movement. If you go to liquor.com It is the destination for bartenders. They've got a section on stocktails. So bone broth-based cocktails also coming. Okay, let's talk about fermented cultured probiotic. Kind of group these together because they're all about the human microbiome, providing an ecological upgrade so that you are in fact going to be able to colonize healthy bacteria. So fermentation, it's an old school form of food and beverage preservation, but it is synonymous with probiotics in terms of its positive effect. When you ferment products, you take sugars and convert them to lactic acid, which again feeds the intestinal environment so that you can have your microbiome flourish. And products in this ilk are a whole range from farmhouse culture with their gut shot. That stuff's serious. I mean, it's the drippings off of sauerkraut. They say 3 ounces, consume 3 ounces per serving. I drank a whole bottle once, and we had to make an emergency landing over Sioux City, Iowa. I mean, that stuff is potent. So I said, geez, guys, this isn't exactly scalable. It's a nice item, but let's work on something a little more gentler, right? So we came out with this product right to the right of it there, which is a 12-ounce sparkling beverage that is from either golden or red beet, and you drink 12 ounces. So I nervously approached it and knocked one down, and I'm happy to say all was good at the play that night. So, you still have kombucha ripping. Kombucha's gone broad. It's everywhere. It's a mega category, going to keep growing. Certainly the dominant players are GTs and Kavita, but you have upstarts coming up the ranks, and Health-Aid's doing a real nice job. Live Kombucha doing a real nice job. And then you've got Good Belly really taking a position with a fruit-based beverage and high-quality probiotic strains, all different levels of strength, too. The easy-drinking light ones, and then shots that give you a more potent dose. My buddy Steve Williamson at Forager doing a great job with nut-based probiotic beverages. And so you're going to continue to see all kinds of innovation in this category. Let's talk about quality fats. I love the look on people's eyes when I make this statement. And it's true. You can check it out yourself. Saturated fat has nothing to do with heart disease. It's a total myth. If you look at the science that these assumptions were based on from the 1950s, it's been proven inaccurate. Saturated fats from both vegetable and animal kingdom are actually very healthy. It's just controlling quality, which is even more important when you're talking about animal fats because toxins store in the fats of animals. So if you're eating grass-fed butter, it's a friggin' superfood. If you're getting mass-produced butter where the cows are eating conventional genetically modified corn, they're taking routine levels of antibiotics and growth hormones, I am not making that same claim, and it would not be the same effect. Also, you have to be healthy when you upgrade your fat intake. I get at least 65% of my calories from fat. I weighed 215 pounds 2 years ago, just having fun and traveling and eating a lot of restaurant food. I'm like 196 right now, and the difference is bone broth and high fat. 65, 70% of my calories from fat. Your body will quickly learn to burn fat as fuel. So we're big fans of the fat movement, so much so that we're confident to say that you'll never see fat-free and low-fat trump mid-range to high-fat foods in any category for any sustained period for the rest of humanity, and that's good news for everybody. Cold-pressed and HPP. I am bullish on this technology. It's a careful pursuit when you get into non-juice products like nut milks or coconut milks because you have a potential pH issue. It may or may not be 100% safe. I actually think it is. The incidence percentage likelihood of an incident would still be very, very low. But let's talk about it where it's really relevant. Things like juice and these little shots on the right. You see there with Temple and Vive. So I'm saying that category. Let's talk about that category for a minute. The shots category. Give me 3,000 retailers, step up to the plate, 12 linear feet, we build a $100 million category like that. This stuff is ready for prime time, there's no doubt about it. And you can have shots, turmeric, ginger, immunity, greens, coffee shots, fortified coffee shots. All we need is environment. We need people to step up to the plate. The stuff's ready to go. Look at these pictures here. I've been known to go to Las Vegas on occasion, like 3 times a year. This is the Palazzo Hotel. This is the real estate right at the elevator bank. Everybody staying at that hotel walks past a juice farm. 10 years ago, it was Red Bull, cigarettes, and like 5-hour energy. It's HPP cold-pressed juice and elevated stuff like low-sugar veggie drinks, low and no-sugar nut milks, cold brew coffees. Then it dovetails into a juice bar. It's not 70 grams of sugar stuff. It's like fresh ingredients, pick your protein. I mean, the world is changing faster than people think. So I believe this technology, now the brand influx has been crazy. We're early investors in Suja. Started representing them when they were a regional company in Southern California, invested early, got them funded, introduced them to our good friends at Coca-Cola, and they have a beautiful marriage flourishing. So we're big believers. Again, juice is where it separates. You hear all kinds of different reports, but I'll tell you this. If you take a thermally processed juice product and you compare it to a HPP product, the HPP product looks better, tastes better, and is of a higher qualitative nature in terms of its overall nutritional profile. This is real deal and long-term. Hydration with benefits is key. Everybody always talks about the mystery of consumer products, and the consumer will let us know. I used to scratch my head about that because I figured some stuff out about 20 years ago, and I said, well, I think I kind of have a feel for what is going to have a very strong likelihood to hit. And you look at things, like we were on coconut water at the very advent, almost 20 years ago, and we looked at it and we thought, this is what people are going to drink as an authentic electrolyte replacement. Call it natural Gatorade. So we predicted that natural isotonic beverages wouldn't be that big a deal because this is the stuff they're going to go to. And watermelon water, one of our clients, these guys are terrific, doing a great job, great branding, great merchandising, beautiful stuff, dances on the palate nicely. If it didn't have the nutrition profile, it's just a refreshing, interesting fruit beverage, and it wouldn't be scaling like it is. So that stuff, even if people are not consciously making the decision, I am now buying coconut water because of the potassium, they might just be buying it because they're thirsty. But the whole framework and the ubiquity of that category was based on this proposition, and it almost always is in the value-added sector. That's why I affectionately set up here a few years ago when everybody was going insane about maple water. I think there were people dressed as maple trees in the audience. I was like, settle down, everybody. Maple water is coconut water without the benefits, okay? This is like, you might be able to build maple water not as a single consumption like a functional beverage, but rather it's a sustainability play in my mind. It's romantic and interesting, so you might have to do flavored varieties, sparkling varieties. I actually think, tree water is on our watch list. Birch water, maple water. I'm not saying this stuff's never going to sell at high velocity, but it isn't going to compete with watermelon water and coconut water on its nutrition proposition. All you got in there, 650 micronutrients and a ton of manganese. Go try and build a story about that. People think you're saying magnesium, first of all. And then cactus water. Cactus water is all over the place, right? But the velocities aren't great because all the research done on the mitigation of inflammation with prickly pear was done with fresh pulp. So if you heat it and put it in a bottle, you kind of lose that functional bent. So maybe HPP varieties, maybe, okay? So that's where you leapfrog and you get to a point, if those cofactors in cactus water are bioactive and bioavailable in a different process form, you might start to see big velocities. Cold brew coffee, we were on this 5 years ago. So I was not a coffee drinker. I started drinking coffee because of cold brew. I found it to be a little acidic, hot brewed coffee. But this, again, looking at the benefits, we knew where this was going immediately. Said, all right, you get a smoother coffee, better flavor, very low acid. The caffeine seems steadier and punchier. I don't care what they say about measurements. It's steadier and it's a little punchier. And we said, this is going to just revolutionize this category. This is going to be like Greek yogurt to yogurt, that kind of category agitation. It's exactly what's happened. This is headed for hundreds and hundreds of millions, billion-dollar category, and going to keep on growing. And it's a technology play, meaning it's just how you prepare your roasted coffee beans. Look at the number one seller. In the natural channel, Chameleon Organic Black Coffee Concentrate. I drink it about 5 days a week. I drink about 8 ounces, and I talk really fast for that next hour, as I mentioned. But the stuff's incredible, and no stevia, no monk fruit. I mean, it's big, bold flavor, great stuff. That would not have been the number one SKU in this category if this trend hit 10 years ago, because people would have needed more sugar. But if you look at this, most of the stuff up there is either unsweetened or very, very lightly sweetened, and these categories are absolutely driving coffee sales. And the innovation you'll see, because when this type of category agitation, all boats rise. So even some hot brew formats, you're going to see, and already are in some cases, with grass-fed milk, with protein, sparkling in nitro, MCT oils, various roast, et cetera, et cetera. And on the milk subject, when people get all crazy about plant-based nutrition, and I'm a fan, people should eat more vegetables. Milk still outsells, real milk outsells plant-based. From my perspective as a deep nutrition seeker, and I've got European roots, I do well on dairy, so I don't have a digestibility issue. I want food that's as real and unprocessed as possible. Nutrients in real food are bonded at a molecular level to proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. It's different than a highly processed isolate that you turn into a beverage. Not saying anything bad about that movement. I mean, those products have a huge place and they're growing faster than dairy milk, but milk is not going, cows aren't going to be extinct like some of my friends think. And then cold brew coffee everywhere. I mean, just look at this. I mean, you're seeing kiosks. I mean, you've got Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks doing national television advertising for their cold brew varieties. And we haven't even done a great job as an industry yet talking about that you can heat cold brew coffee. So I drink it cold most of the time, but we heat it up at our house and we make bulletproof coffee and all this great stuff. It retains its benefits and properties in the brewing process. The brewing process is where you get all the value, the low acid, and you get all the flavor compounds you want and none of the bitter tannins. So you can heat cold brew, and it's still better than a hot brew process in terms of how it tastes. Low, no sugar with room to grow. So this category, people would say, well, it's obvious. People don't want to eat as much sugar. And I say, really? Well, I read Sugar Blues 38 years ago, and I'm here to tell you that sugar just hit its proverbial tipping point 3 years ago. It's a whole different gear now. I now tell people, congratulations, your worst tasting product is now your bestseller, because it's unsweetened. I mean, 10 years ago, if you're selling rice milk, soy milk, which were more relevant, or almond milk, original sweetened and vanilla sweetened were 90% of the business. Unsweetened was this little tertiary SKU. Now in every single brand, in every single format of plant milk, unsweetened blows away number 2. So seeing this movement and seeing how we see it over every category. Chameleon cold brew, #1 product in the category. Suja, when we first started working with Suja, we were selling all this apple-based stuff. It was great, apple kale varieties, 40 grams of sugar in a bottle. The stuff was high velocity, 20 units per store per week at Whole Foods at $8.99. And then it hit like screeching halt to those velocities. Good thing we pivoted. We came out with a bunch of green varieties that had more like 8 grams of sugar in a 16 ounce, and the only fruit in there was lemon. And even now today, as Suja has gone broad with the brand Elements, Target, Kroger, the higher velocity SKUs are the very low sugar items. And what happens when people stop eating a lot of sugar? Taste change quickly. So you've got the product like Bai, which is a great item, obviously. They had a very productive exit. These guys have done an amazing job. That's a full kind of sugar and bright note flavor experience. Transitional customer that's coming into health and wellness needs that. And some people long-term, they want that full flavor and sweetness that you can get with monk fruit or erythritol or stevia. But if you stop eating a lot of sugar for a long period of time, your tastes change. That's just way too sweet tasting for me. I mean, I actually think Chameleon Cold Brew tastes great. Like bitter taste is one of the 5 main tastes, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But you're going to see a plethora of products launched in many categories across the store that don't even impart much stevia or much monk fruit or erythritol and are just bold, real taste. And things like soda. I mean, I always joke, like you take a Virgil's root beer, right? Great stuff, 42 grams of sugar, and who knew that adding ice cream to it made it healthier? But it does. And I'm saying that sugar is going to sell long term. People are going to be more thoughtful about it. So maybe a normal 12-ounce soda hit where it's like sweet and amazing is going to be more like 18 to 22 grams of sugar in 5 years. That's the evolution that we're seeing here. Bitters. I love this category. I'm going to tell you why. If you go anywhere in the world and you eat a traditional meal, that meal has the 5 tastes: sweet, salty, sour, savory, which is umami, and bitter. We talked about this last year. Do you realize that right now bitters are surrounding us? Like as we speak, they're everywhere. It's $1 billion plus business. I don't know where the tracking data is, but I guarantee you the low-proof bitters like the Fernets and Amaros and the high-proof stuff like Angostura, I'd be less surprised if it was billions than less than $1 billion. I mean, it's billion or billions, and it's everywhere. You go to a cocktail bar, if they have a 12-item custom cocktail list, 8 of them have bitters minimum. Chefs know that bitters impart provocative flavor. They cut the richness of a fatty meal. Bartenders know they brighten the drink. They complement. They're actually very refreshing. More importantly, bitters deserve better, okay? So it's the missing taste. And when people say, ooh, it's bitter, I say, it's bitter. We're already consuming a lot of them. Coffee's a bitter. Ginger's an aromatic bitter. Turmeric's a bitter. It's just positioning and understanding. So if you go back 15 years, again, there were 10 studies done in the US on bitters. They said, these studies, bitters improve digestion, they increase appetite and improve digestion. In the last dozen years, there's been 1,500 more studies on bitters. And it is suggested that there are bitter receptors all over our body, and bitters play a pronounced role in immunity, in blood sugar regulation, in addition to the aforementioned digestive health benefits. It is simply crafting a story, ladies and gentlemen. We can build a story, give bitters its rightful position as a health-giving, provocative taste. Like I say, bitters deserve better. We're going to make it happen. These are examples of bitters, nutritional powerhouses, boosting metabolism, immune health. You know, there's a lot of things here that people are familiar with. We're just not building this story. So it's just like fat. As a collective industry, we took fat, which people inaccurately thought was not good for them, and we built a story. And now today, most people know that at least some types of fat are healthy and essential for a productive diet. And we have fat-soluble vitamins, vitamins A, D, and E. If you're not eating a lot of fat and the right kind of fat, you're going to be low in all of those. So beginning to make their way in the mainstream. I'm on United Airlines Hemispheres magazine early this year, a full-page article on Angostura bitters. And that stuff's great. It's gentian root-based, and then it says flavorings, which in that industry means secret recipe. How do you make an herbal extract? You take plant material, you distill it in alcohol, and you get all the medicinal and flavorful compounds out of the plants. That's what these bitter elixirs are. They are life-giving. I tell people, we've got a bar to beat the band at our house, and I say, I drink 6 days a week now, and I never felt better. But it's because I'm drinking these incredible fresh infusions with herbal extracts in them. And look at what the market is saying. Do you realize in the tea category in natural, so this is everybody. This is yogi tea, traditional medicinals, celestial seasonings. The number one SKU in the whole category is dandelion root tea by traditional medicinals. I am telling you, we are surrounded, and you better take this seriously. These guys here are sparkling bitters. If they're here, I want to shake their hand. I haven't even tried the product yet, but I can tell you by looking at it, they leap too far ahead. That's 5 years from now. Because how people need to be introduced to bitters is you got to sneak up on them. You got to round it out with a little citrus, a little fat base maybe, a little sweetener. This product, just sparkling water and real bitter extracts, 5 years from now, probably a home run. We got a little bit of work to do to start the cadence and then connect. And this is our bar. Oh my gosh, look at that. Is that at the bar? That's Alma Delia, my lovely girlfriend, somewhere in the audience. Alma, there she is back there. Hey, Alma. She was ordering a bitter cocktail because we have a mystery guest there in the long sleeve white shirt who is CEO of one of our brands, and we are doing R&D at our house for a bitter elixir, fat-based bitter elixir to be launched later this year or perhaps at Expo West. So we are all about this category. We understand it. And just like bone broth, we help drive the category. We identified the benefit. We got the right brands in place. And we're part of the education process. We're going to do the same thing with bitters. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Bill, thank you. We only have time for one quick question.
Sure.
And let's sit and
Good,
ask. There's this early thread of functional benefit that you're talking about with all these products, functional nutritional benefit, and there's also this really strong thread of no sugar. Wouldn't that augur well for some of these plant-based products that are lower in sugar than coconut water?
Without a doubt. And I do love the plant-based movement. I mean, again, simplified, people should eat more vegetables, more plant material. It's more ecologically efficient. You could argue it's healthier, especially when you look at the quality of fat and meat that are consumed as people are out and about in their daily lives. So I am a big fan. And I also don't want people to get too overly or slanted in this regard. Sweet profile products are always going to sell. Just think of it as the architecture of it comes down. So if there are people in the audience and you've got soda products, don't be scared, but just think about what I'm saying. You get creative with your extractives and you bring bright flavor notes and lower the sugar. There's a position at all levels. There's a position at 25 grams for a full serving. There's a position at 18, probably at 10, and then of course down to 0 calorie, with or without the flavor spikes of the no-calorie natural sugar alternatives.
All right. Hey, thank you very much.
For sure, my pleasure. Thanks, brother. Talk to you later.